Hello everybody, welcome to the Treehouse at the bottom of the Cundy Garden, where we brave the elements, but today it's a lot warmer than it has been. I think spring has sprung in England. So a very warm welcome to my guest this afternoon, Zoe Smith.
Thank you,
Hello,
Sheena.
Zoe.
Hello.
Zoe and I have been friends for quite a long time.
We have indeed.
Yeah. And Zoe is a yoga teacher and a Reiki master teacher and practitioner, and you run your own business called Silver Spiral Holistic Health.
Yes.
From Tiptree, where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great having you here, Zoe, because like I say, we have known each other for longer than I thought, because when I went onto your... Do you like a cup of tea?
Yes, please.
All right, darling. When I went onto your website to do my research, are you impressed?
Very.
Last night, I looked at your bio. By the way, your website is brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very informative. So, and really comprehensive. Anybody that doesn't know anything about Zoe, if you go to her website, all the information is there. But on your bio, it's got all the training that you've done, all the certified training, all the qualifications that you've got over the years.
Yeah, the investments.
Starting at 2005, which is, you know, where you first started doing your Reiki and your yoga training, which is where I can remember knowing you, because we sat in circle together.
Yes, in Malden.
Yeah, we sat in a spiritual circle in Malden. So that's where it all began for me, knowing you. But so I think we're going to rewind back to there, because that's probably where your spiritual development started. Because this is a spiritual journey, isn't it? This whole journey with energy.
It is, yeah. I mean, I love
energy.
working with the energy, and I started off actually doing yoga practice initially. So I was exposed to the prana energy, which is obviously known as chi in Chinese modalities and ki in Japanese.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's all the same universal energy, but it's quite subtle. So once you begin to work with that energy and feel it, and I noticed that in yoga initially, then it makes you feel something more than just being a physical being. So which is where I got introduced to being aware of the spiritual side of life. And then it was a natural progression for me to go into Reiki, which is using that energy, cultivating that energy. Initially, it was for myself, to work on self-healing and self-development. And then I just found myself really getting excited about the energy and wanting to share it with others. So that's when I began to practice Reiki. And the side effect of Reiki that's really good is that you can offer it to other people. Yeah. They don't have to believe in it. It's not a faith healing. It just they recognise the energy. It puts the body in a state that is optimal for healing itself.
Okay.
So that's where I got into the Reiki side of it. Obviously emigrated to New Zealand in 2007, partway through my Reiki journey.
Was that long ago?
Yes,
2007?
2007.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I'd only done up to level 2 Reiki at that point. And then I joined another spiritual development group actually over in New Zealand, a really nice group where they used to offer healing days for the community. So I offered my services to do Reiki. So it was like a $1 donation, and then they got whatever treatments were going on, whatever readings were going on at the day. And that's where I gained my confidence, because people were giving really good feedback about what they experienced, what they felt. And it persuaded me to continue that journey and do my Reiki Masters. So I did that overseas with the same trainer.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it was a really good experience. I felt it was quite a growing experience when I was in New Zealand. I found a really good yoga teacher over there as well, who did a style of yoga that I'd never encountered before, called Anusara yoga.
Never heard
and
of that.
It's heart orientated.
Okay.
And it's a little bit more active in the poses, so you're not just hanging out in a pose, you're incorporating muscular energy, inner spiral, outer spiral, organic energy. So that was a really nice thing to connect with all these different people that I would never have never have met had I not gone over there.
Yeah, because being as a teacher and a healer, which is, that's what we share in common with each other, don't we? I don't know about you, but I feel that the common denominator in both of those things is that wanting to help others. So that is something that I think is in us when we're born, don't you think? And we are then perhaps engineered
good sort of
spiritually
towards
towards things like, so the spiritual circle was the first point of take off for you, maybe your first point of call, and then maybe you decided from there. I mean, how did you get into, what came first, the yoga or the Reiki?
The yoga came first.
The yoga came first.
Then the Reiki came swiftly after that.
Yeah.
Well, I say swiftly, but I mean, 2005 was when I did my first Reiki 1 course.
Yeah.
And then I guess I was interested in like the circles and the spiritual side and mediumship, but I just felt more drawn for the energy work, the healing, purely because I think, especially noticing on those spiritual days, actually, when people are hurting and they want some help, they'll quite often go for a reading when actually they need a healing.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So it's just observing, perhaps, maybe they don't realise what they actually need half the time, but it's, so it's offering, for me, I felt I could offer more doing the Reiki. And then since then, obviously, I've added some other energy therapies as well, that I think complement the whole, the whole spectrum really of what's available. I don't do massage, but I do reflexology, which works on the reflex points of the body, relating to other parts of the body, which is really interesting. I've been working quite a bit on Tim.
Oh,
so
right,
he's
your
been
husband.
He's been enjoying a bit of reflexology.
Good.
And obviously I've had a few clients now. It's only a recent one that I've been doing. And EFT as well, which is the emotional freedom technique, the meridian tapping. It looks a bit bizarre, but it's very effective.
Yes.
Very effective tool for getting yourself out of the way. So it's freeing those blocks, those limiting beliefs that get in your way.
Can I just ask you, when somebody comes to you for healing, do you get people that come that don't know what they want, or don't know what they need? Or do they come to you for a specific thing?
They normally look at the website and choose. Yeah. However, if they come for Reiki, because Reiki I would suggest is probably the most gentlest form. If someone's in need of some healing. So if they come for Reiki and I can sort of maybe observe that I think EFT would be really helpful, then I'll just gently mention the therapy, what it is, explain what it is, and say perhaps next time you might want to try that instead of, or a combination of. So you can always combine the therapies.
So if I was to come for you to you for some Reiki, what would be the point at which you might say to me, actually, I think you could do with some EFT, Sheena?
It depends on how open and communicative you are with me as a client. Some people, they don't really tell you too much about what's going on. But normally I have like a little talk first of all to find out why they're there and what they need to be looking at. And then quite often after the therapy they might be a little bit more inclined to talk and chat, because they obviously feel more relaxed, they know who I am and they've had a session. And then that's when perhaps I might think that would be a good time to offer the therapy if it's something that I think would help
benefit them. So what's the difference between Reiki and EFT? Because I know what Reiki is, obviously, because I'm a Reiki master, but for people that don't know, can you describe?
EFT works in a way where, if we use phobias as an example, so if you have
I've got a few of those.
If you have a phobia,
I used to have a phobia about spiders.
Oh, but you don't now.
No, I don't now because I've got the treehouse. I've got loads of them.
So you've just got used to them.
Desensitised myself.
Desensitised yourself. So what's happening in the body when you have a phobia is the energy system. It's a bit like if you think about a television set, and then you get a screwdriver and you whack it in the television set. Yeah. It's going to go, you know, you're going to create this situation where the body just, you know, energetically freezes up. So with a phobia, as opposed to fear, because obviously natural fear is healthy.
We need it, don't we?
Yeah, natural fear is healthy.
Yeah.
A phobia is literally when you have that reaction. Irrational reaction, and you can't move forward. So that will be blocks in the energy system that could be put in through an experience that's created that, or something that's been said to you, or you know, you've learned behaviour. So by using the EFT therapy, the first thing you do as part of the therapy is to set up a statement to see if you can free any sort of psychological reversal associated with it. So without going into too much about what it is,
no, just basics. Just the basics.
You basically do a statement, and you're tapping on one area, and then you have a reminder statement. So you're tapping round certain points on the body with the reminder statement. And what you'll find is if you give the phobia a level from 0 to 10 initially, once you've tapped around, if you've picked the right words and it's going in the right direction, that number should reduce.
Okay.
If it hasn't, you might need to then review
you
know, the words, or you might have jumped onto another aspect of that phobia. So if, like you said, with the spiders, you may have jumped over to the cobwebs or the legs or the movement. Or so
God, can we stop there, please? I don't want to go any further with that one.
After
I'm going to start reversing back to my phobia.
Well, you can see why there's lots of things to clear. Yeah, so you need to get them all.
I've got some understanding of that because I was trained in thought field therapy, which is very similar. But I can remember it being absolutely mind-blowing, the training that I did for that, and it's something that I have to really think about if I'm going to give that treatment to somebody again, because it is, you know, there's a structured procedure that you have to follow, like you say, with the rundown of you know, finding out what and where and the questions you need to ask and all that kind of stuff.
Generally EFT is quite simple in that regard, because it's the same points, it's the same, it doesn't matter which ones of doing the freeing and the releasing. Once you've learnt the system,
so it is easy, isn't it?
And very simple.
And
you can use it on anything.
Brilliant. And that's all on your website as well, isn't it?
It is, and I've got some little videos on there now which explain how it works, and so you can have a little try yourself.
Okay, so how long did it take you to train for that?
The EFT, it was probably over the course of a year, I would think, because we met, the lady that trained me is in Leigh-on-Sea, and we had constant support with her, and I still reconnect with her every year as part of our ongoing development training. But the case studies, there was quite a few that we had to gather, and I was still working part-time and doing my yoga while I was training, so it took me quite a long time to gather my case studies.
And that leads me on to really you starting your own business, because when you came back from New Zealand, you had to get a job, didn't you? Like a normal day job.
Yes.
Didn't you?
To pay the bills.
Unfortunately. And then you went from that, didn't you, to part-time, because you decided that you wanted to run your own business.
Yes.
Didn't you? Tell us
how it was Silver
Spirals was born.
Yeah, it was born through circumstance as well. I was working for a company. I've always been really lucky where I've worked. I've always enjoyed my work, and I always give 100% when I do a job. So my background from the office is sales and marketing, which is why the website for me and marketing is
so fantastic.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, very impressive.
So I was working for a company who was in financial difficulties, and there was a few times over that time I worked there, which was 3 years, where the job was in jeopardy.
Okay.
So partly I was thinking, do I get another job? Because I might lose this job.
Yeah.
And partly I started to believe and to think that I could build classes, because I was only doing one class a week then on a Tuesday night. Yoga.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they basically persuaded me, or they said, you know, would you go part-time?
Yeah.
And so the logical side of my brain thought, well, that would make sense, really. They said, well, just you tell us when you can work. Yeah. So that was quite flexible.
Yeah, very good.
So I wanted to put on some classes. So I worked out when I wanted to do my classes, and then I worked out when I could go to the office. So basically I worked 15 hours a week for the company, and the rest of the time I could build up my classes.
So you had that safety net.
I did.
That part-time job.
It was very difficult though to split between the two. I didn't find it particularly easy.
No.
And eventually it came to a head when I realised I needed to just naturally
jump ship.
Yeah.
Cut all ties.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. So that happened in July.
This July? Last July?
Last July.
Okay. So you've been self-employed, running your own business full-time?
Since July.
Since July?
Yeah.
And how's it going?
It's going well.
Yeah?
No, it's really interesting how I probably could have done it without the part-time, but you just don't know that, do you? On paper,
of course not.
The figures don't add up on paper, but I think you don't realise how expensive it is going to work, if that makes sense. Because you
must tell my husband that.
You have all the travel, you have all the lunch, you have all the little extra shopping trips. You know, so actually, on paper it looks like there's less in the pot, but in day-to-day living, it's been fine. The dogs are still eating.
Yeah. And also, so you've got this business where you're running your yoga. You're doing your yoga classes and your Reiki as well.
Yes.
So all your services, all your healing services you're providing, as well as your yoga classes. So whereabouts are you doing your yoga classes?
So yoga is basically Colchester and surrounding villages. So Messing Village Hall is a really nice venue where I teach yoga at. Yeah. I do chair yoga there as well.
Yeah. Now I've seen that chair yoga. Can you tell us about chair yoga? So
chair yoga was a class that my friend was offering when I first went full time. I did my research as well. So I went and spoke to people that were already doing this as a business and chair yoga and developing their own yoga studios. So my friend Lee was doing chair yoga and she said, come along, have a look, you know, and I thought this is brilliant. So basically it is a yoga class, but where you might have hip problems, knee problems, or just an injury that you're rehabilitating from, you don't want to keep getting up and down off the mat. You can just do it from the chair. So it's the same. It's like the same poses adapted for the chair, which means you can also bring it into old people's homes.
Oh, yes, of course.
Not as ideal because they have their comfy chairs, but at least they're having a bit of a stretch and using the muscles and working with the ankles and the wrists, and you know, arthritis is quite obviously a thing that they have to, a common ailment that they have to work with. And,
so do you do any work in old people's homes?
I do regularly at St Fillan's in Colchester. Once a month. That's their dementia ward, so that can get quite rowdy to a point. So if you can teach in a dementia ward, you can teach anywhere. Because they just shout out things or
how do
get
you control them?
You don't. You let them get on with it. And you just carry on. So it's a good skill to have, just to carry on, and the staff there really enjoy it as well, because it's a nice relax and the telly goes off. So
but I can imagine you're brilliant at it because you've got such patience. You're very calm. You've got that wonderful sort of
I don't get flustered or wound up with them. No.
Or with anybody. No. I think you've got. I don't ever remember seeing you get wound up with anyone at any time.
No. I'm sure I have.
Well, yeah, we all do, don't we? Okay, brilliant. So that's the chair yoga. So what else? What else is coming up? What have you got? That's kind of what you're doing at the moment.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you're doing at the moment?
Well, this year's the first year that I'm going to put on some workshops.
Okay.
So I'm collaborating with like-minded people in sort of well-being.
Yeah.
So it can basically introduce, for example, yoga and aromatherapy oils,
Yeah.
and how that can benefit our well-being. Also, I don't teach Pilates, but I think people that do yoga might not understand what Pilates is or how it works. It's another mat-based holistic therapy working with mind and body, so I'm collaborating with a Pilates teacher.
Lovely.
So we can offer both of those.
Yeah.
And the same lady is going to also run a pelvic floor workshop with me as well, which is quite, obviously I didn't realise how important that the health and the workings of the pelvic floor is. Yes. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of interest around this.
Okay.
Building the strength in the pelvic floor.
Would that be for women mainly?
Well,
or for men as well?
And men apparently. Really? Yeah. It's more common for women.
Yes.
But yes, it is an area that we lose that strength of the muscles. So
as we get older,
I think
or
for
after
women
childbirth,
it's probably after childbirth is probably the main contributor.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And of course, healing takes place on many levels, doesn't it? So can we wind back to reflexology, because you offer EFT. What about reflexology as well? Is that something that you had to train for as long as you've had to train for EFT, or was it something that was a shorter training period? It
was a shorter training period so far. However, it's always ongoing. So I actually have an advanced training this week, so that I can obviously get more out of what I'm offering, and then offer it to clients. I haven't done, I think there's a different teaching for pregnancy reflexology.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm not aware of that at the moment. Okay. But again, I did my research, and I've done reflexology, and a lot of my reflexologist friends, so they gave me good feedback as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Wednesday though. So hopefully that'll be.
Wednesday's your
advanced reflexology course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. So you're constantly sort of developing, refreshing your development, continuing your development. Updating your professional development.
Yeah, continuing professional development. CPDs.
Yeah. Sounds like an illness.
It does.
That's brilliant, Zoe. That's excellent. I mean, you've done so well to get to where you are now. And the business, like as you say, is running itself. Is it?
You say that, but I use some software to run it.
Yeah. Okay.
But without management software, I would be lost. So that keeps track of everything. So at the end of the year, when I put my tax return in, that has got it all in there.
So that's your software on your website.
It's integrated with my website, but the actual basis for it is Mind Body. But there's plenty of other versions out there of similar software.
So what do you mean by software on your website?
It's a management
how does that help the website?
Okay, so if somebody went on to holistic therapies to book reflexology, the calendar that comes up is all part of my management software.
I've seen that. Yes, it's very impressive.
Yeah,
looks
so
really
it's
professional.
all linked in.
So it all does it for you, really.
It's all in.
Somebody
the
can
main
book in.
system.
They can make a date. They can make a payment.
Yes.
On the website.
Yes.
Without actually having to talk to you or contact you initially. It can all be done. Yeah, and it all works.
So far.
Touch wood. There's lots of it round here. Touch the tree. Touch the tree.
Yeah, no. It's,
oh, excellent.
Yeah, so I'd be lost without that.
Yeah, so technology is really sort of, is helping, isn't it? You to grow your business.
It is.
To grow your business.
Yeah, and I can also see as well, how many students have attended in a particular week or which classes are working, which therapies are not working.
Okay. So apart from your website, which is your main hub, which is where people can find you, which is, what's your website called? What's the website address?
silver-spiral.co.uk.
Okay. Now, for anybody watching, I will put that link in the show notes underneath the video, so that'll be there. So don't worry if you didn't get that, everybody. But where else can people contact you online? Where else are you findable, discoverable?
Well, I'm sort of members of quite a few different organisations, but generally the website is the main one. But
what about social media?
But I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm also on Yoga Hub, and I'm on Reiki Pages, and I'm on the Reiki Federation.
Wow.
I teach for Reiki Evolution.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much...
You're everywhere.
Lots of places.
You're all over the place.
Yeah, lots of places.
Yeah, that's really good, Zoe. So that's where people can find you. And you've got some workshops coming up this year, you said?
This year, yeah.
Yeah. And so for anybody that wants to join your classes, have you got room? Have you got room on your yoga classes?
What they'll do is they'll have a look and they can book in. So each class has got, you know, a number of people we can fit in the room.
Yeah.
So if they can book themselves in, then there's a space there.
Okay.
And if there's no space there, the computer will say no.
Okay. Oh, how dare it? How dare it say no? What about your Reiki training? What if somebody wanted to come to you for Reiki training? Have you got that to offer as well?
Yeah, there's lots of courses this year. Again, just go on the website and have a look. I'm running all of the 3 levels: Reiki 1, Reiki Practitioner, which is level 2, and the Master Teacher, which is level 3.
Brilliant. Now, can I ask you, before we finish, have you got a preference for yoga or Reiki? What do you prefer to teach? You got a preference?
Oh, that's a difficult one.
No.
There's probably not a preference because they're so different.
Oh, yeah.
They're so different.
Yeah. What do you love best about your work?
Seeing people get it.
Yeah. Seeing them benefit and understand and
it's just sharing that information. I love that. And I think that's when I first came into teaching, I didn't really consider myself a teacher. I just had to tell myself that I was sharing.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into it, because I never would have chosen logically to do that.
I think you're doing a brilliant job. Because teaching is all about, as you say, sharing. But it's about giving other people confidence in themselves, isn't it? Yeah. Like you have to kind of sometimes bite the bullet.
Hold the space for them so they can then grow and feel that for themselves.
Yeah. And obviously seeing them grow in their confidence, your confidence as a teacher grows in turn, doesn't it? It becomes a two-way thing. That's excellent. Well, I wish you all the best with your continuing professional development.
Thank you, Sheena, and you.
Thank you. And for anybody that's interested, go to Zoe's website. She's got lots on offer.
I have got lots going on, yes.
Yeah, and all the best for the future. And you must come back in another year's time and tell us. Yeah, catch up.
Okay, thank you.
It's been very lovely. Cheers.
Thank you.
Ta-ta for now from the Treehouse. Bye.